Today we're talking about the astronaut who was alone in space. Please, if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Now, let's go to the video. Imagine being far away from every other human being than anyone else in history. You have no cities, no lights, no sounds, just silence. Complete silence. Now, imagine that if something goes wrong, nobody can come to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not even your entire planet. Because you're almost 40,000 kilometers away from Earth and completely alone. This is the incredible story of Michael Collins, the astronaut who became the loneliest human being in story. In 1969, the world was obsessed with one goal: landing a human on the moon. The space race between the United States and the Soviet Union had been going on for years, and now one mission will decide everything. That mission was Apollo 11, moon landing. Most people remember two names from that mission: Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, but there was a third astronaut, one who is often forgotten: Michael Collins. And without him, the mission could never have succeeded. The plan seemed simpler on paper. 3 astronauts would travel to the moon together. Once there, Armstrong and Aldrin will descend to the lunar surface in a smaller spacecraft called the lunar module. Meanwhile, Collins will remain behind in the common module, orbiting the moon complete alone. His job was absolutely critical. If Armstrong and Aldrin couldn't return to the common module, everyone knew what that meant. They would be stranded on the moon forever, and Collins will have to make the heartbreaking journey back to the Earth alone. On July 16, 1969, the crew launched aboard Saturn V. Millions of people watched around the world. The mission represents years of work and the dreams of an entire generation. After several days traveling through space, the astronauts finally reached lunar orbit. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Armstrong and Aldrin entered the lunar module and prepared to descend. Collins watched as the spacecraft, carrying his friends slowly, moved away. Soon, it disappeared from view. For the first time in human history, one man was alone in orbit around another world. As Collins passed behind the moon, something incredible happened. The moon blocked all radio signals from Earth. For nearly 48 minutes during each orbit, he had absolutely no communication with anyone. No mission control, no astronauts, no air, nothing. He was quite literally the most isolated human being alive. Perhaps the most isolated human being who had ever lived. Imagine looking out the window and seeing the moon below you, then turning around and seeing Earth in the distance, a tiny blue sphere floating in darkness. Everything you have ever known exists on a small dot. Every city, every country, every person, everyone you love. And you are completely alone between two worlds. Collins later wrote that he didn't feel lonely. Instead, he felt responsibility. He knew that the success of the mission depended partly on him. While the world focused on Armstrong and Aldrin preparing to land, Collins carefully monitored every system on the common module. He checked fuel levels, navigation systems, electrical systems. Everything had to work perfectly, because if it didn't, there would be no way home. Meanwhile, history was being made below him. Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface and spoke words that will become famous around the world. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The entire planet celebrated. Television viewers watched in amazement. But while billions of people watched the moon landing, Michael Collins continued circling above, alone, patiently waiting for his crew to return. There was always a possibility that something could go wrong. What if the lunar module couldn't launch for the moon? What if it couldn't dock with the common module? What if a mechanical failure trapped Armstrong and Aldrin on the surface? These were real possibilities. Some reports even suggest speeches had been prepared in case the astronauts became stranded. Collins understood this better than anyone. He knew there was a chance he would have to leave his friends behind. Thankfully, that never happened. After spending more than 21 hours on the moon, Armstrong and Aldrin launched back onto the lunar orbit. Soon, Collins spotted the lunar module approaching. The docking procedure was successful. The crew was reunited. The mission could continue. Finally, after days in space, the astronauts began their journey home. When the crew returned to Earth, Armstrong became the first man on the moon. Aldrin became the second. And Collins? Many people forgot about him. He joked that while the other two received most of the attention, he was happy simply knowing he had done his job. But historians and astronauts understand how important he truly was. Without Michael Collins, there is no moon landing. Years later, people asked him whether he felt jealous that he never walked on the moon. His answer surprised many. He said he felt privileged simply to have been part of the mission. He had no regrets, and perhaps that's why so many astronauts admire him. Today, Michael Collins is remembered as one of the heroes of Apollo 11, not because he stood in a spotlight, but because he quietly carried one of the greatest responsibilities in human history. He became the loneliest man in existence for a few brief moments, and he did so that humanity could take its first steps on another world. While Armstrong and Aldrin made history in the moon, Michael Collins was making history in the silence above it, and for those 48 minutes behind the moon, farther from humanity than anyone had ever been before. He was truly alone in the universe.